Well, you have the recording. But...
Yeah, it's recording. Hi!
Hi!
It's Kelly talking to her mom right now. That's what we're doing. Just Kelly talking to mom. We just saw A Wrinkle in Time.
And it was really remarkable. It was one of my favorite movies I've ever seen in my whole life. And it was totally my kind of movie, and it really brought out a lot. Well, it really made me think of a lot. And my mom has been wanting me to make videos because I talk to her all the time, and I get really carried away. I mean, I don't talk for a little while, I talk a lot. Because my mom is like my best friend. She is my best friend. But this movie was basically talking about the universe. And it was saying how the universe is within all of us. And it was saying how there's different dimensions and things like that. And it was saying how, what was the other thing it was saying?
Well, just think about what you were telling me in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what what you processed, like what your thoughts are.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie inspired a lot of thoughts because the movie talked about entering into a different dimension, and it talked about the it, which was the dark side, and how people get mean.
And that's what brought out a lot. That's what made me think
Yeah.
of a lot. Because that's a real problem in this movie. This movie's amazing because it really relates to the real world. I mean, they have it's obviously not real, the stuff that's in the movie, but what they say is real. And that whole darkness thing is real. And some of my friends struggle with that. And I've known a lot of people who struggle with that. And you can think of it however you think of it. You can call it darkness, you can call it depression, you can call it evil, you can call it death. I mean, well, that's a little harsh, but whatever comes to mind. But basically negativity.
Yeah.
It's basically negativity. Darkness is negativity, and darkness is evil, and darkness is fear, and darkness is doubt, and darkness is corruption, and darkness is impulse, and darkness is giving in to things you shouldn't give into.
Lying.
And darkness is lying, and darkness is hate.
Yeah, those are all good.
And darkness is unacceptance, really. And
So how do you fight the darkness? Like, so in the movie...
that was one of my favorite parts. It's saying how there's spiritual warriors. I mean, not everybody's spiritual, but saying how there are warriors who fight against the darkness. And there are seers who have such insight and see things. And I said to my mom, right after the movie, I said, I'm both those things. I think of myself as a warrior that fights against darkness, negativity, and I'm also a seer because I have insight all the time. I think of things all the time. Things come to me all the time. I don't just think of things; they come to me, and I don't just. They're not just words. I see things. Like I see visions, and I'm not psychic, but like I see visions of how things are and how things need to be explained. And I write it down in my journal, and I've been writing in my journal for the past couple of days in a row. And my arm was killing me yesterday, so I didn't write anything today. So maybe that's why I let out a lot.
Yeah.
But I've been reading this book that's called Meet Your Soul Book, and it's really remarkable. It's amazing, and it talks about the stuff this movie said. It says some of the same things this movie said, and it talks about the universe, and it talks about energy, and it talks about who you are, and basically, it's very spiritual because it's called Meet Your Soul.
Yeah, so a lot of the things that you read in the book...
Mom, I can't read your writing words.
Okay, so a lot of the things that you've read in the book are things that you already felt, and the book makes sense for you about what you felt.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that we were talking about after the movie was how we are here to be ourselves.
I was getting to that. I was going to say that.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just trying to explain everything.
Okay, well, yeah, go.
But, yeah.
Microphones with Kelly.
But basically there's a scene in this movie that made me really mad, and it was when the main character is fighting the darkness. It's when she's surrounded by the darkness. And it did this thing where it split her in two, and it showed her a prettier version of herself that looked more glamorous, and it was taunting her, telling her that people would like this version of you more. People would think you would be more popular if you were this version, and so would like you more, like if you were like this. And that made me so angry because that's one of the things that I really believe and see that is messed up with this world. We all think that we need to be like someone else or like something. We all think that we need to be different than who we are. And we all feel like we are going to be judged, and we feel like we're going to be disliked for how we are. But that's not true. We have to be who we are, as we are right now, because we are here to be who we are, how we look right now, and who we are. Like, we're supposed to be ourselves. We're not supposed to be like anybody else, and we're not supposed to be anybody else, and we're not supposed to look a certain way. We're just supposed to look how we look right now, and we're just supposed to do what we're meant to do. And that doesn't have to do with anybody else, and you don't have to do what anyone else does. You have to do your thing. And you always have to do what feels right to you, not what other people say. Don't listen to what other people say when they tell you what they think you should do, or when they tell you what you should do. You should do what you think and feel that you should do. Because if you feel like you should do something, it means you're supposed to do that. And that was another thing that was in this movie. There was a scene that I loved where one of the characters said, "I had a feeling that I should come over here." When people get a feeling to do something, that's their intuition telling them to do that. That's their soul telling them what to do. And the intuition is never wrong. The intuition is always right. You have to always do what your intuition tells you to do, even if it's ridiculous and even if it doesn't make sense. And that's a line from my book. It says that. But like, if you really think about it, we all do this. Like, we all think one thing and then we realize, oh wait, no, we shouldn't do that. Like, we should just be ourselves. And the world has obviously gotten better with that. I mean, look at history. Look at how women couldn't vote and how we couldn't wear pants. Now we're wearing pants. Now we're allowed to do so much more than we used to do.
Yeah.
So that was probably a funny
No,
analogy.
that was really good.
Anyway, that just came out.
Let it go.
But like, we don't have to dress a certain way. We don't have to look a certain way. We don't have to be like our friends. And we don't have to be like our family. We have to be who we feel we are. And we have to be who we are. And I've also been seeing a lot of sayings too. And one of the sayings I saw was that the universe is responding to who you feel you are right now and who you think you are right now. And that means that you will have experiences that relate to who you feel you are. And that means you'll be surrounded by things that you think are you.
That's right. That are in alignment with what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Super powerful.
So basically, like, when people are like, I really want to try to help people who are sad and who are struggling with depression and who give in to the darkness, because you can't ever let it get to you. You can't ever let depression get to you. No matter how sad you feel, no matter how bad you think your life is, you have to find some good in everything. You have to remember the good things about yourself, about your life. You have to think about the things you love, and you have to think about the people that care about you. I mean, you may think nobody cares about you, but some people do care about you. All of us have people in our lives who care about us, even if they don't show it. Everybody is cared about, and everybody is important to someone. We are all important, and we all matter, and we're all supposed to be alive. We all got to live our lives and keep living, because life is worth living. Life is the best gift that you can receive, and you have to make the best of it. You can't let your problems or your issues get to you, and you can't let the bad things get to you. You can't let the bad manipulate you and think you should do things that you shouldn't. Like, people that are sad, they can't ever give into it. Don't ever give into your sadness. Don't ever give into it, because that's not you. Your sadness is not you. Depression is not you. It does not define you. Just like autism does not define me. And this goes out to anyone, really. People who don't have depression and who don't have autism. This is for anyone. Like, you can't let your negative feelings get to you. You can't let your negative feelings control you. Don't let negativity control you. And don't let it into your mind. because I know that we all think negative thoughts from time to time. That's just part of being human. But you can't let those thoughts control you. You can't let that control your life. And you can't do reckless or bad things. You have to do the things that are right for you. And you have to do the things that are right for everyone else in your life. And you have to care about other people too. Like, you can't just focus on yourself. You got to focus on what others are going through and be there for them. Like, my friends, two of my friends told me the other day that they tried to kill themselves. And I told one of them that I'm so glad they did not, because I would miss them terribly if they had. And I'm going to tell my other friend that too. But I told my friend that you can't, I'm glad that you didn't do that, because you're here for a reason. And that's another thing my book says. It says we're all here for a reason, and we all have a purpose. We all have something we're meant to do. And we have to do that. We're here to do that. We're here to do what we're meant to do. So you can't give up. You can't throw away your life just because you feel bad. You can't throw everything else away, because if you think doing that's going to make you feel better, it's not. If you do that, if you end your life, you're going to lose everything, and you're going to lose everyone. You're not going to see anyone ever again, and you're not going to experience anything else. Like, you have to live. You have to love your life how it is. And if you don't like it, change it. Make your life how you want it to be. Make your life better. If you're struggling, you're gonna be okay. You're going to get through it. Whatever you're going through, you're going to get through it. There's always light. There's always goodness, and you have to find it. You have to see the goodness, and you have to see the light, and you have to find goodness in every situation. Even if you're having a horrible day, or even if you're in one of the worst situations, you have to find something good, because it's not all good and it's not all bad. It's both, and you have to focus on the good.
Yeah, and that's what happened in the movie, right?
Yeah.
They told her that the light would come through her wounds. Mm-hmm. And you were saying that in the car, that everybody goes through struggle.
Yeah, and my book also says that we learn more from pain.
Yeah.
We learn from the bad things. And another thing, I said to my friend that the bad things are meant to make us stronger. They're not meant to make us weak, and they're not meant to make us give in. If we're feeling something bad, it's actually testing us. If you feel negativity affecting you, it's testing you. You're not supposed to let it win. You have to win the test by being positive, by not letting that affect you. I mean, I already kind of said that, but that's kind of like the movie was like when the girl was surrounded by the darkness, she was being tested. Like, she is not the darkness, and she's like not the light. It's whoever you choose to be. But we all have light. We all have light inside us. We all have good inside us, and that's what matters more than everything else. The good is what matters, and the best things about yourself is what matters. And the best things about yourself are who you really are.
I love that.
Faults are what people think, and that's what you may think, but that might not be true. Like, you might not be the bad things that you feel about yourself. Like, that might not be true at all. Like, you might think people think you're weird, and they don't. Like, you can also misinterpret things, and I do that. Even I do that. I misinterpret things all the time, and then I have to remind myself, wait, it could actually mean something else. And that's another thing. There is meaning to everything. Well, most things. And there is meaning to our life, and there's meaning in who we are.
Absolutely. And there's a lot more, so stay tuned, because Kelly's going to come back and share more of her prophetic wisdom. And
Poetic.
Prophetic. I say prophetic because she's a wise old soul, and she has a lot to share with us, and I'm encouraging her to show up and share and speak her voice, raise her voice.
Sorry if I was talking a little too loud.
No.
I kind of do that.
Don't ever apologize, right, guys? This is all about sharing, Kel.
And that's
and
another
share
thing.
With passion. That's the way to share.
That's another thing. Be passionate and smile. It's okay to smile, and it's okay to feel whatever you feel.
Yeah. So how about
Just remember to stick with the good feelings.
Stick with the good feelings, smile, and be yourself. That's today's message, and we'll be back with more. Until then, bye.
Bye.